dear football fans. It's your boy Black Tiger Talks, and I'm here to talk Titans. Now, you see, the Tennessee Titans right now have the number one overall pick, and with that pick, you see a lot of names flying around about who we should pick, what prospect we should pick. And the two names that have been the most, talked about names are the two Colorado boys, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. To a lot of Titans fans, getting getting either one of these guys would be, a really good draft pick. Either one of them would be the guy to get, right? But I'm here to say that I think that drafting either one of these guys is probably going to be a mistake. So let me explain why. Starting first with Shedeur Sanders. You see, Shedeur Sanders seems like the most obvious pick at first. We have a quarterback problem right now. Will Levis isn't the guy. I mean, I made an entire video about why Will Levis wasn't the guy for the Tennessee Titans. But that said, while Shedeur Sanders is the top QB by a lot of analysts' opinions, a lot of them seem to think that Shedeur Sanders is that guy, at least the top guy of a very poor QB class. It doesn't change the fact that Shedeur is not a really good QB prospect, especially not one that we should draft number one overall. Now, why do I say that? Well, it's kind of simple, right? Just like what I did last time when I compared what the strengths of Will Levis and Malik are, you got to the same to Shedeur Sanders. And when you look at it, you find that he's not that talented of a prospect at QB, and he's not that talented when it comes to what his physical abilities are, and his mental processing. While better than what Malik's was at when we drafted him, better than Will Levis is at, and better than a lot of other QBs, isn't crazy impressive. So let's break it down real quick. You look at his athleticism, his speed, his ability to break tackles, his strength. None of these things are off the charts. They're average at best. So that's already not good. He doesn't have elite size. He's 6'2", so he's a little undersized at that. He's not particularly heavy. Not particularly thick and guy. He's definitely rather skinny. So that's already an issue when it comes to taking hits and possibly getting hurt. So that's a problem right there. When it comes to his pocket presence, he has pretty good pocket presence, which is something that Will Levis does not have. That said, despite having pretty good pocket presence, he doesn't have great, pocket manipulation or escapability. That's mostly due to his rather average, speed and just elusiveness. It's not that great. We saw it in the last game of the season, or rather, the last game of the playoffs. We saw that meaningless little bowl game. They were playing versus BYU, and they were just tagging him up. They were just easily sacking him. And that's something that you don't want to see when you're going to be playing versus a lot of guys in the NFL who are much, much better than the BYU boys out there. So that's already significantly a bit of an issue that he couldn't escape those guys consistently. In fact, they were consistently grabbing him pretty easy. So that's a problem all in of itself. He doesn't have a particularly great arm. His arm talent is pretty good, like as far as where he can fit the ball in the field, whether or not he can put his arm in different angles to get the ball out. That's all okay, but nothing about it is like impressive. So from every with throw power, of course, that's another thing. He's just okay at that too, almost a little under throw power from what I can tell. So when you look at it from the pure talent level, that's physical abilities, right? What he has the potential to be at, it's not that great. Even if he somehow gets really great at processing and all that other stuff and reading a defense, his physical abilities alone limit his ceiling pretty significantly. And his processing ability, his reading defenses, it's not great. It's good, but it's not great as a college prospect. And I doubt he's going to come into the league and be Tom Brady out there, when it comes to reading defenses, when it comes to, setting protections and all that stuff. He will still be a rookie when he is drafted. Pretty obviously, he's not going to be a franchise savior, ultimately speaking. And even with the Titans team, I don't see them building the team up enough in a single year for him to come in and do very well. That's what type of team he's for. He's for a team that's already had a lot of pieces put together, and then you add him in there and he'll finish it up. He's basically like a Sam Darnold, to drive the bus all the way up and can potentially get you to the playoffs. He's not a guy you draft who just saves your entire team right off the bat. That's just not who he is, what his talent level is. His draft comparison, his NFL comparison, is Geno Smith. And Geno Smith is not a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. He just simply isn't, incredibly elite, which is what you want to get if you're drafting number one overall. So yeah, Shedeur Sanders, we shouldn't draft him. That would just be a mistake. We might even ruin his career if we drafted him. But what about Travis Hunter then? At the very least, if we can have a great quarterback, drafting a big time receiver might seem like a good idea. And I can agree with that. Drafting a big time receiver would be quite helpful. I just don't believe Travis Hunter is the big time receiver that we need. You see, there are different types of receivers. You can probably should already know that. There are different types of receivers and different things that they can do. And Travis Hunter, if you watch what he can do at receiver, if you watch what he does at cornerback, first of all, at cornerback, we don't need a cornerback right now. We got Ladarius Sneed and Chuba, what's it, Awuzie, I forget his name. I forget his first name. It's hard to pronounce, and McCreary as well. We're pretty solid at corner, so we don't need a corner. So which means he'd only play receiver. And again, at receiver, his abilities, while impressive, are not what the Titans need right now. His best strengths at receiver are his one after catch ability, which is pretty impressive. He has pretty good route running. He has pretty good ball skills. I would say great, not elite ball skills. They're elite at corner, but as a receiver, they're pretty great, but not elite. Catching traffic and all those things, pretty impressive. Solid to good speed, not great speed, but solid or good speed and acceleration and all that. Not particularly strong, doesn't have particularly great size. And basically, he's very similar to the guy we already have, being Calvin Ridley, who we paid a lot of money to. If I'm going to draft a receiver, number one overall, I'm not going to draft a guy who's like the guy we just paid all this money to. I mean, he just doesn't have the incredible ability, the incredible size or the incredible speed that you would want from a first overall pick. Look at him in comparison to the receivers last year who we saw do very well. Marvin Harrison Jr. is 6'4" and has similar levels of speed. Malik Nabers is 6'2", 6'3", or I think he might be 6'1". Whatever he is, he had incredible route running ability. Not good, but incredible route running ability, and incredible ball skills. All his skills were at the peak. These were all elite skills. Omoduzie, one of the best contested catch specialists in the league, one of the best one-on-one, specialists in the league. A very not the league, but the college football, of course, obviously. But he was really good at what he could do, and he had solid to good speed and acceleration, great size at 6'3". You saw the same thing from Brian Thomas Jr. We saw over at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who got 1,000 yards this year. Another guy with great speed, he ran a 4.38, 6'3". That was what he had. So in order for me to change my mind on the Travis Hunter situation, I need to see him run like a 4.3. He runs something in the 4.3 range, then I could say, all right, he might be our guy. But, if he doesn't do that, if he runs something like a 4.5 or a 4.5, something to that nature, that's when you just can't draft him. He needs to have elite speed for the size and body type that he has in order for us to even consider him first overall. So yeah, that's basically the thing. Ultimately speaking, we gotta find someone else to draft there. We also have other holes on the offense, we have right tackles, a big issue. I would like to solve that in a different way, but again, that's probably something I should get into in another video. This one's already running a little long, so I guess I'll see you guys later. Like and subscribe and all that YouTube jazz, and I'll see you in another video.